Hey guys, we have a pretty wild ride through our energetics today. Number one, Venus has entered the sign of Aries. This is definitely a vibe shift, and we're going to be talking about this in the report for today. Number two, we have Mercury, the mind, the messenger planet, in an exact square to Uranus. Shocks, surprises, expect the unexpected. The Great Awakener coming into a harsh contact with our mind, what we're thinking, and the conversations that we're having. There could be some really wild, shocking, unexpected news going on today, disruptions, changes to plans, lots of Mercury Uranus energy to talk about. We're going to want to kind of slow down a little bit today if we can too, and be careful in traffic. Also, we have the moon in Pisces coming into a conjunction with Neptune today. We could be questioning, you guys, if we're dreaming or if this is really real. Just the way that this is coming together today, a very unique day, maybe kind of a bizarre day. Let's get into our chart for the day. Let's talk about this energy in a little bit more detail and see how it may be coloring our experience on the ground today. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today's Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, all the way at the end, we're going to be doing a tarot reading, a collective tarot reading that I have done for the day as well, because I just like tap the energy field for more than one modality whenever I'm doing these reports to get a more well-rounded overview, just a couple different perspectives on what's going on for us energetically. We're going to start with the astrology though. We've got a lot of astrology to talk about today. Like I said, we've got shifting vibes going on. Venus entering the sign of Aries. This is a much more assertive energy, you guys, in terms of going after what we want. We're talking about Venus coming out of right now her exaltation, actually, one of the signs Venus loves to be in and operates very well in, the sign of Pisces. This is also a receptive sign, which is in alignment with the feminine energy that Venus represents. Venus in Pisces sits back and receives her love, okay? Venus in Aries, this is Venus in the sign of Mars. This is a very assertive, more dominant and action-oriented feminine energy. It's actually not necessarily the most natural expression of the feminine energy, but it definitely does serve its purpose, and it has its own unique set of qualities and characteristics that we'll talk about in this video. So that is one of the things we have going on today. Venus, moon, sign of Aries. This is just going to be a much more assertive, action-oriented energy regarding going after what we want. And we'll talk more about this energy at the end of the report after we talk about the primary aspects of today, but it is indicating that there is definitely a vibe shift going on, and we're probably going to be feeling a bit different as this energy comes in. Now, the second thing that we have going on, this is Mercury coming into that exact square with Uranus in fixed signs, Aquarius and Taurus. Also in the trine to Mars, right? Mars is in Gemini right now, only 1 degree out of exact trine with Mercury in Aquarius. For our new moon yesterday, we had Mercury in a square and simultaneous trine with Uranus and Mars. So this energy is carrying us through the entirety of this month, essentially, this Uranus, Mars, Mercury energy, which is going to give us a very mentally stimulated vibe, almost like hyper stimulated. It could be quite distracting. We could have just lightning fast thoughts sort of flying in everywhere. It could be a little bit disruptive. It could make things sort of hard to sleep, and things may generally not be going according to plan over the course of today and over really this Pisces cycle, because this energy was present for our new moon yesterday as well. This can also be sort of like an anxiety provoking energy and can create sort of this sense of nervous tension building and stuff like that. So we've got that going on, but also today, you guys, we have this moon in Pisces coming into a conjunction with Neptune. Whereas this Mars, Mercury, Uranus energy is hyper stimulating, Neptune and the moon together, this is depressing. And I don't mean depressing in terms of the mood, but I mean it brings things down. It's low key, it's dreamy, it wants to rest, it wants to sleep. It doesn't want to shoot off everywhere like a rocket ship with electricity spurring it through the air, you know what I mean? With this vibe coming through with Mercury, Uranus, and Mars. definitely a different type of energy. And the moon and Neptune together, this is very sensitive emotionally, very empathetic, very connected. We're sort of like an emotional sponge in this energy. And today, with this energy present, we do kind of want to be careful that we are not sort of like picking up and internalizing the vibes or the emotions of other people just because it is such an empathetic energy, and sort of like internalizing them and taking them on as our own, and sort of like carrying the burden of somebody else's emotions that we just happen to, have a interaction with or something, and it like impacting us and bringing down our vibe, because that can kind of happen when we have this moon and Neptune alignment going on. But it's also just like this dream-like energy, like this fantasy energy, this daydream energy. It can be a little bit disorienting, and we might just feel like a desire to rest, a desire to sleep, to like zone out a little bit, to fade away, relax, fantasize, escape reality. It can be like slightly disorienting, and we can't sort of feel like we're like caught in a fantasy or like even a daydream, hyper attuned to the moods of others. But it can also be easy to like misinterpret things, misinterpret other people's feelings and stuff in this energy as well. Neptune does rule like confusion and illusion, and the moon is feelings. So we can sometimes get like a false sense of things when we have this aspect playing out simultaneously. And it can also create like a desire to disconnect from reality and like merge with the fantasies in our mind that we're experiencing, or our ideals, or a higher power too, with this Neptune Pisces energy being so strong and dominant. But in the context of Mercury, which is our mind, the moon is our emotions, our feelings, how we're feeling about stuff. So like this is sort of our baseline mood. Like we may wake up in the morning and just be sort of like in this like dreamy state, and just like moving a little slow and like not super engaged, and just like kind of like our mind is kind of wandering, and we catch ourselves just maybe like staring out into space or something. But all of a sudden something comes through, and like we get a message or something that like really snaps us out of it, that like demands our urgent attention and requires us to snap into action with this Mercury, Mars, Uranus energy going on. So there is likely to be something that is like just requiring our attention, or snapping us out of it, or just exhibiting this sense of like urgency or spontaneity, or just like a need to change, or excitement even, or something like that, with the Mercury square Uranus energy coming through in the midst of a Moon-Neptune conjunction. Mercury squaring Uranus is a mentally electrifying energy and can bring sudden, unexpected, and shocking news, information, occurrences. There could be some like just really crazy headlines and stuff going on in the news. You could read some like really weird or just unexpected, surprising stories on social media, or just like in the newspaper or in the headlines, like whatever, that type of stuff, media, hear about it on TV. Or like it could just be the conversations and the interactions that we're having with others. Somebody might call you up on the phone and tell you something that just like blows your mind. You might have a text message come through that's just like, what? Like something you totally unexpected. Or changes also to plans that just come sort of out of nowhere. Word of caution, you guys, this energy, there's, a couple reasons, but we are definitely going to want to be careful in traffic with these aspects going on. People are going to be wanting to go fast. With Venus having just entered Aries, Venus in Aries has a need for speed, loves to go fast, and we're just going to be feeling sort of a desire to like move things along, okay? And then we have the Moon-Neptune conjunction, but people simultaneously not paying attention and maybe just caught in like, zoning out a little bit. And meanwhile, the ability to, or the tendency to be sort of distracted or just not paying attention, or for things to happen like quickly and unexpectedly, is also very present. So really all of the aspects as they're coming together simultaneously today are kind of like requiring a need for taking some extra care and just making sure that we are paying really good attention when we are driving, especially driving in traffic. I'm not talking so much about like if you're going on like a road trip and like on the interstates and stuff, but just like if you're navigating busy areas, downtown, difficult traffic jams and stuff like that, or just general driving traffic, like it is important to be paying attention to, because I'm telling you guys, people are not going to be paying attention. People are going to be on their phones. People are going to be zoning out. People are going to be wanting to get somewhere quickly and simultaneously distracted and zoning out and not paying attention. So it's like we more so need to kind of like be aware of what's going on with other people on the road today too, as well as, you know, our own course navigation towards wherever we're trying to get. So I definitely wanted to say that, because I feel like just it's sort of a recipe for, you know, maybe some like issues that could be coming up, like accidents and stuff like that. So that is that. But Mercury and in the square to Uranus gives this mental stimulation. It can also bring nervous energy, nervous tension, anxiety and stuff like that as well. It's just this very like high speed, fast paced, high pitch, high frequency energy. Uranus is actually the higher octave of the Mercury vibe. So major emphasis going on, you know, information going back and forth between people and travel and transactions and business. Huge emphasis on business with this one as well. Mercury is actually at 16 degrees of Aquarius for this square. That Sabian symbol is a big businessman at his desk. We've also got Uranus in the sign of Taurus right now, which is resources and supply chains and financial markets and economies. And there could be some disruptions to like transaction-based things, business-based things. Like I said, like all of those Taurus themes, like agriculture, resources, economy, partnerships, working partnerships and dynamics. There could be changes and disruptions going on in these regards as well. And this energy really requires us to be open-minded, adaptable, and to go with the flow of the changes that are happening. Very, very busy energy, very fast-paced energy. This is like lightning speed energy. This is the type of energy, and I feel like this is sort of going to be with us all month long, just because, like I said, this energy was present for our new moon. But it's like there's so much coming at us and so much that is just like spontaneously, instantly requiring like our attention and like action generated from that attention because of the Uranus, Mars, Mercury energy that we have going on right now, that I feel like we could be getting like really ahead of ourselves in this energy and like sort of unable to process things as they're kind of coming in, as they're happening. We could feel like a bit scattered. We could feel sort of like a bit like a chicken with our head cut off. It's like we have to engage in this and we have to get it done. But then as soon as like before we're even halfway done with that, like something else come in that like requires our attention that we need to act on. And then, you know, before we even get an opportunity to get halfway through that, like we've got to divert and go in another direction and like handle another issue, like putting out fires, maybe like all over the place. This could just generally be sort of a vibe today, and things requiring our kind of like immediate attention, solution-oriented energy. But this is also energy where we don't necessarily want to like jump into action based on maybe some of these ideas that are coming to us, because this is a day of inspiration as well. It's interesting how this is coming together. We are in a new moon cycle right now that is about like sort of awakening us to like our own magic and our own potential, and you know what we can grow and what we can manifest if we get, you know, in alignment with the truth of our inner vision, and then kind of practically figure out the steps that we could take to have that. And now that we have Venus in the sign of Aries, it's like we're believing in ourselves and our ability to actually translate some of these visions, some of these dreams into reality. And that is honestly like sort of the push of this 2023 year. And also I feel like of this Pisces cycle. And in this energy, as we have it playing out now, like thoughts flashing through our mind very quickly, Uranus and Mercury in a square, in and out, sudden downloads and flashes of insight. Thinking can be very sharp and clear, but it can also be sloppy. And that's like sort of one thing that we need to kind of like keep in mind in this energy. We don't necessarily want to immediately act on whatever insight or inspiration is coming to us in this energy. This is like first draft energy, okay? It's like when a creative inspiration hits, that's sort of the energy that this is giving, especially with the Moon-Neptune conjunction. This is divine inspiration that is coming through on like an intuitive level. And then the Mercury square to Uranus, this is also flashes of insight and sort of like creatively or divinely or brilliantly inspired ideas and stuff coming to us. But when it hits, it's like we need to get it out, right? We need to maintain like the sanctity of our idea or our insight or whatever, but we haven't yet worked out like the critical details or the crucial intricacies yet. So it's not like the time to necessarily like take it and like pitch the idea or act on it or launch it forward. We want to wait, sort of. This is like the mad scientist vibe coming through, and we're going to want to wait probably until tomorrow, actually, when we have the exact Mercury Mars trine, and Mercury and Uranus are out of the exact energy to, you know, say something about whatever comes to us or to really act on whatever is like presenting itself to us, perhaps in the energy of today. Things could be happening too fast, like I said, to really process what's going on truly in this energy. And it could also make us a bit nervous and scattered, feeling just the speed with which things are kind of unfolding and happening. Not a great day, to be honest with you, for concentration, but a very great day for inspiration. We don't want to make rash, impulsive judgments or decisions because things are kind of, like I said, like only like half thought through sort of in this energy. And we could regret them later if we just like jump in before we are truly ready to follow through, or before we have, like I said, like those critical, crucial details and insight nailed down and just like figured out all the way. So we're going to kind of want to wait, like I said, probably actually until tomorrow when we have this Mercury Mars activation going on. Could have to do, like I said, being in the sign of Taurus, and if Mercury at this degree, a big businessman at his desk with business, bosses, leadership, authority, work, goals, pursuits generally, finances, partnerships. But I do feel like this is sort of talking about a change, talking about an awakening, like a shift in guard, sort of an update, an evolution, or moving from old ways of thinking to like a new way of approaching a situation or just like a working dynamic or something. We actually have Uranus at 16 degrees of Taurus. That Sabian symbol is an old teacher fails to interest his pupils in traditional knowledge. So a big businessman at his desk and an old teacher fails to interest his pupils in traditional knowledge. It's like we're focused on something, there's business that needs to be handled, right? But the old way of doing it isn't working anymore, or it's not relevant anymore, or it's not serving the purpose. It's not captivating the attention. It's not doing the job that is required or that maybe it did in the past. And so there's this need to change. Uranus is the ruler of like sort of drastic, dramatic, dynamic change, but Uranus also puts things right. And whenever Uranus is operating, it's ultimately to realign things as the galactic fixer, to put things back on a proper course that is more conducive to the organic development of potential and activating destiny, because that's really what Uranus works to do. Uranus makes the changes for us that we haven't been able to make for ourselves in order to get us in alignment with our soul's true purpose. And Uranus is really working overtime right now and is a very powerful influence in the context of our transition right now into the age of Aquarius, which is also ruled by Uranus, which is a process and an age of self-actualization in alignment with our soul's true purpose and activating destiny. So when Uranus is activating, making aspects and transits with planets right now, what is unfolding in our experience is ultimately for that purpose. Now, Uranus is also blessings in disguise and silver linings. So a lot of times when it's a great disruptor. So a lot of times when Uranus is working, the awakenings that come and the blessings and the silver linings that come through a disruption that shakes us out of our comfort zone and forces us to do something or be someone or act in some type of way, have something go on that we never thought we could handle or that we never thought possible for ourselves. But our ability to sort of take that experience and overcome and rise through it and find ourselves in a much better place afterwards, in alignment with our higher selves and our higher truth and our authentic truth and our like soul's purpose and activating our destiny, like that's how this energy works. And so whatever is coming, you guys, whatever shakeups, whatever shocks or surprises or unexpected this, that, or changes of plans, like we just need to roll with it, because no matter how insignificant or random it might seem to us, like there's a greater purpose behind it that is helping to push us somehow to make a change that is promoting our growth in alignment with our authentic potential. So this is important stuff. Okay. So we're in this first draft energy right now. There's this inspiration that is coming through. It could have to do with business, like I said, or moving on from something as well. We are in a cycle right now of endings and beginnings, but regardless, it is awakening us mentally to how to get over stuff or how to get our stuff together and to move forward successfully. That's what I feel like is sort of being indicated through the symbolism, the sign placement, and the aspect itself. Of course, headlines, news about perhaps resources, supplies, currency or money, markets, financial markets, economies, business, payments, transactions, agriculture, transportation, air and ground. Also, global organizations with the Aquarius vibe. Like these could sort of be themes coming through on the more macrocosm level or just in our individual lives in some way in regards to this energy that's playing out. But it is a day to receive, you guys. Even though we have Venus moving to the sign of Aries, which is not the most receptive energy, with the moon, which is another feminine energy, right? Ruling our feelings, ruling our emotions in Pisces, in the alignment with Neptune today. This is a day to receive divine inspiration, but not necessarily to act on it, not necessarily to assert ourselves. This is not necessarily an outgoing energy today. This is an incoming energy today that is asking us to receive an inspiration and to like sort of figure out what we can do with that, how we can use that, and what actions we can take, but without necessarily jumping forth into those actions today. We even have this sun today at 3 degrees of Pisces. That Sabian symbol is a petrified forest. So I do think, again, like this is also talking about sort of like holding on, like freezing things in place for a little bit, like not necessarily acting, but just like pausing things so that we can really take a good look at what we've come up with at this first draft energy and make our edits and make our adjustments before we launch forward, before we really start talking about it and acting on it and making choices as a result of perhaps like whatever is coming to us. And again, I don't think that, we're necessarily going to be needing to wait all that long, because tomorrow we have this major activation in air signs, Mercury, Mars, firing things up. And this, with Venus in the sign of Aries as well, is going to be a better energy to take some action, but really not so much today with the moon and Pisces coming into the alignment with Neptune, and also just this Mercury Uranus energy, because like I said, like it can be sloppy, it can be scattered. It's the mad scientist energy. It's a brilliant downloads and epiphanies and stuff, but they're not necessarily grounded in reality yet. Like we need to look and think more critically about it before we just sort of go with it. So we've got that going on. And then we need to come back and talk about Venus in the sign of Aries. This is really going to shift the whole vibe of things right now. And she is joining Jupiter and Chiron, currently in the sign of Aries. To me, this is sort of like a holy trinity of planets that we have going on over this next couple weeks that is going to be putting an emphasis on heart healing in one way or another. I feel like that type of thing is going to be quite relevant over this next couple weeks, preparing us for some major heart healing or just an emphasis on issues with the heart and in a kind of expansive way. Venus in Aries, you guys, like I said, gives us this need for speed. And it's also, Aries is a sign of the self. This is about self-love as well, self-value, self-worth. With Jupiter there, believing in ourselves and loving ourselves enough to heal, with Chiron there as well, but also to take a risk. Venus in the sign of Aries has no chill, you know what I mean? No hold back. This is full steam ahead. This is like taking risks and ready to jump off the cliff, because we need to seize the day. And there's just this like desire to do something new, to be the first, to be the leader, to like, there's this courage and this assertiveness that comes through. So a desire now sort of inspiring us to move forward, to take risks, to take action, and to get ahead. This is assertive, action-oriented energy. Venus in Aries wants to be the leader, wants to be in charge, wants to sort of like run the show and be the first one out there. And we go after what we want, and we're willing to fight for it. Venus in the sign of Mars, Mars in Aries. This is the sign of war and battle, and Venus there. Like this is some Athena type of energy, okay? Like this is the goddess of the battlefield that we have coming through with Venus in the sign of Aries. She's in the sign of Mars, feminine in the sign of masculine. That is why she has this more warrior type presentation in terms of her energy when we have her in this sign. And it can, as a result, bring up conflicts in relationships and financial conflicts as well on the more like negative side of this energy, because Mars, this is battles, this is fights. Venus, this is relationships, this is peace, this is beauty, this is love, this is value, this is worth, this is harmony, this is friendships and socializing. People are likely to be a bit more touchy. Like I said, standing up for themselves, standing their ground, very assertive, not running from a fight, and just putting their foot down about stuff. This can definitely cause conflicts and fights in specifically relationships and romantic relationships, most likely over like who's in charge, who's the leader, who's going to wear the pants. Like that is the type of situation that could be coming up, but it's a very feisty, very fiery, very fresh and like outgoing, energized, charged, like inspired, right? Type of energy, and that's what we're after, and that's what we want. We want stimulation, we want excitement, we want newness, we want to like be original and like get ahead and like be the first one, and like it's like I said, this a desire to go fast, a desire for movement, a desire for action. Like we're not willing to wait around, and we need to get things moving when we've got Venus in the sign of Aries. And then simultaneously, I mean, think about it, Venus in the sign of Aries, that now means that Venus is in the sign of Mars. Where is Mars? Mars is in the sign of Gemini, right, which is ruled by Mercury, who's in the square with Uranus today. But with Mars and Gemini, okay, and Venus in Aries, we now want to make the choices and to take the actions and to have the conversations and to have the meetings, all of these Gemini themes that will help us get ahead, Venus in Aries, or that can remove any hindrances to our ability to like engage in a greater form of self-love and self-worth and self-value and express ourselves. Mars in the sign of Gemini, to express ourselves from a place of like greater levels of self-worth coming through as well, and standing up, like I said, standing up for what we want and not being afraid to say what we believe that we deserve. If we're in this energy, if people feel like they're being slighted, if people feel like things are unfair, if people feel like they're not getting what they deserve, they're probably likely to take the hard exit, okay, and to be done with the situation, especially in this Pisces cycle about endings and beginnings, where Venus was an exact sextile to Pluto at the very last degrees of Pisces and Capricorn. Like this is a transition point in relationships, especially like commitments and situations that have been ongoing for long periods of time, but that are just not fair, that are out of balance, that are not harmonized, or that are just like not working, or that are blocking the growth in alignment with authentic potential for one reason or another. This is the energy where we actually have the courage, like we have the balls to do something about it, to walk away, to shut that door. That's what's happening in this Venus energy. Standing up for what we want and deserve. This is what is fueling things. And there's a desire to free ourselves as well. The Uranus energy. Uranus right now in the sign of Taurus, which is ruled by Venus in the sign of Aries. Like we are ready to take action to liberate ourselves from anything that has been blocking or not recognizing our worth, not recognizing our potential, and stifling our growth. Uranus and Taurus. So whatever's been blocking us, you guys, from getting what we want or what we feel like we deserve or what we feel is a reflection of our true value, we're not dealing with that anymore. And that's just, I feel like, how it's going to be throughout the course of this next couple weeks and throughout our Pisces cycle. So today is likely to be a day where we can see the possibilities and the potential. We have this tremendous vision of what could be in our highest ideals with the Moon and Neptune together. And we kind of just want to like daydream and fantasize about it and like not deal with all of that. And we believe in ourselves too with Venus moving in the sign of Aries. Like we kind of believe that we have an ability to like make it happen for ourselves. But there's likely to just be something coming through that is like jarring us perhaps in one way or another. Very fast paced, very distracting, super busy, mentally stimulating, so that we can't necessarily just like fall back into this like more low-key detached vibe that the Moon in Pisces conjunct Neptune would prefer for us to have today. So there could be a bit of like just a not great equilibrium that's happening between what's going on inside of our mind and like what we want to do. Like we may be like really tired and just sort of like need a break or a vacation and want to sleep, but we've got everything simultaneously happening at once and demanding our attention. So I feel like that's the vibe. That's what we're dealing with. That's what I'm saying for the energy today. And moving into tomorrow, it's going to accelerate. It's going to like get even more heated, or the fire burning under us is going to be like lighting us up and inspiring us to move, motivating us even more. So should be an interesting couple of days. Let's talk about the tarot now for a second, you guys. We've got a couple of cards coming out of the deck. It's actually a really simple message that came out in the tarot today. And it is very much referencing, I feel like, this fresh blast of inspiration that's coming through. The first card that we had coming out of the deck is the Page of Wands. We also have the Ace of Wands on the back of the deck, okay? Followed by the Nine of Swords, which is interesting. In this case, I do feel like this is talking about some level of excitement or enthusiasm or just shock or surprise that has us like very, very mentally stimulated, that may be disrupting our ability to sleep this week. If you guys watched my new moon video, I was talking about how this whole cycle we might find it a little bit more difficult to like sleep or relax or sort of like calm down our like raging electrified mind. And I feel like these cards are really speaking about that today, like some type of something like enthusiasm or inspiration, right? Something hitting us that may be making it a bit hard for us to relax or a bit hard for us to like calm down and sleep, like racing thoughts and stuff like that. But I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing. I think that it's honestly could be more along the lines of something exciting. The next two cards that we had coming out were, the Five of Swords in reverse and the Seven of Swords in reverse. If these were upright, I would be like, yeah, we probably got a lot on our mind that we're like really nervous and like worried and upset about. With them coming out in reverse, it's like this inspiration that's hitting us, or this insight, or like this flash of something, or this conversation, or this unexpected news, or this creative impulse, like whatever is coming to us is actually like helping us to move away from a state of like mental conflict or self-sabotage, or it's moving us out of like relations or interactions or like pairings or just social dynamics with others that we're creating an internalized sense of conflict or that we're sabotaging to us in any type of way. This is the Page of Wands here. This is followed by the Five of Swords in reverse and the Seven of Wands in reverse. This is like a new inspiration to move away from the places that we had been like sort of fighting ourselves, or the negative thoughts and ideas of the past as well. This is also breaking through like negative thought loops that had been like holding us back or sabotaging our progress or keeping us from discovering or feeling or experiencing this creative impulse or this inspiration that's coming through. So overall, I feel like this is basically saying that whatever is coming through for us today, whatever experience that we're having, however this Uranus, Mars, Mercury energy is hitting us, or, like I said, this creative impulse, whatever is exciting us or stimulating us or something like that, the role that it's playing is to help us move out of self-sabotaging thoughts or places that we have been a detriment to our own self through like internal conflict and stuff like that as well. And again, it could be making it a bit difficult for us to sleep, and that may be stressing us out as well. There may just be so much going on that we're kind of like stressed out and like hyperstimulated. This is what this is to me. We're like hyperstimulated, perhaps we're overstimulated. We may be like having a hard time catching up with ourselves, but ultimately we are moving out of our mind is shifting in such a way that is reinvigorating like our spark and our potential, and moving us out of an inability to move forward because of how we were like essentially like interacting with our own mind, and as a result other people and stuff like that. This is talking about a mental shift and a transformation based on some type of inspiration that's coming through. So that's what I have to say in the context of the tarot today, and I feel like this does align to the Mercury Mars Uranus energy and whatever that is awakening us to or breaking us out of limiting thoughts. Mercury in Aquarius, like, where have we been detached from the truth of our potential as a result of some type of like faulty mindset that we are being shooken out of at this point in time? Now let's grab one more card, you guys. Synchronicity card. This is going to be a message from God, Spirit, Universe that we can use sort of as like an affirmation as we go through this day today. And it says, don't fight it. Release those subject to bondage, Hebrews 2:15. Whatever type of restriction or bondage you find yourself experiencing, don't fight against it mentally. No, God will open up a new door for you and lead you to peace and freedom. So this is also reminding me of this 5 and 7 of swords in reverse energy, and that we are sort of surrendering this conflict. Don't fight it, right? Look at these two cards. Both of these cards are sort of cards, especially the 5 of swords, of fighting and conflict and stealing power and stuff like that. And this is talking about don't fight it. And we have them in reverse. No, God will open up a new door for you and lead you to peace and freedom. Like I was saying, as this Uranus energy comes in, you guys, I feel like whatever changes or adjustments are happening now are a part of this process of these doors being opened up and things being rearranged for us in a proper way that is going to lead to peace and freedom in alignment with like this authentic truth and purpose and potential that universe is calling us towards right now. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, for the astrology message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked it. If you guys did like it, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think they would be interested in like this kind of astrology content too. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, an Instagram, and some other social media stuff in my description box below. I write a blog that goes along with these videos that is posted over in the Facebook group if you're interested in any of that. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. I will be talking about Mercury in a trine to Mars. So we've got a lot more of this very passionate mental energy. Passions are definitely going to be running high in the vibe for tomorrow. Also, leave me comments, you guys. I forgot to say that. I love your comments. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I love knowing how these energies are affecting you. So definitely, if you have experiences in alignment with these vibes, drop them in the comments down below because I want to hear about it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a beautiful day. And until then, bye guys.